Welcome everybody, Sports Stuff Hub Live, episode 44 is underway. August. It is now August of 2021. 44 episodes with only missing a few weeks. Some from technical difficulties, unavoidable, and some from trips like the National, unavoidable. Now I guess I could have streamed right from Chicago, which I'm sure people would have loved, and I would have probably had a blast doing it, and I probably could have gotten a handful of collectors, celebrity collectors we'll call them, and various personalities and whatnot. I probably could have gotten a lot of them to partake in SSH Live from the National, but maybe next year. Atlantic City sounds like I'm probably going to be going. A bunch of people talked me into it, essentially. And it's going to be a lot of fun, from what I understand. I've never been to AC before. Was a little hesitant to go before, because I've been told nothing but not great things about the location, and getting in and out of there, and flights, and blah, 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 blah. So, I'd kind of written it off. And now, going to my first National in Chicago, I guess I'm locked in to go to Atlantic City, because apparently now I can't miss a National, which I don't mind. I had a blast, and I'm looking forward to going and seeing even more people that I talked to on social media. It was a lot of fun getting to meet everybody and talk to everybody in person, and that's how we're going to start the show off, talking a little bit about my trip to the National, obviously. We didn't do the show last week because I flew back on Monday evening, and Tuesday was recovery day. I spent 6 days in Chicago. I flew out Tuesday night the week before and flew back Monday night. So I was 6 days in Chicago. 6 long days. My hotel was across the freeway, not across the highway, across the freeway. I was a mile away, roughly. And I walked every morning to the convention center, except one morning when I ran into the guys from Mikey B's Breaks, and was chatting with them outside of the hotel, and Mikey offered to have me jump in his Uber. So I did that and had a great chat, great couple of guys. And other than that, then I caught a ride one time on the way back with the hotel shuttle, because I was going to walk back to the hotel, stepped out of the convention center, and sure enough, the hotel shuttle pulls up, and I was like, I was exhausted this day, by the way, and I was like, hey, are you going back to the hotel, or are you going to the airport? And he's like, I'm going back to the hotel right now. I said, can I catch a ride with you? Please, my feet are killing me. So aside from that, I literally walked to and from at least once a day, sometimes 2 to 3 times if I was bringing stuff back to the hotel, or if I just went back to get some work done or get a little relaxing in, and then also walking around to the different restaurants, walking around to the different events in the evening. So I put a lot of miles on. I would guesstimate, because I didn't wear a pedometer, I would guesstimate in my 6 days in Chicago, I probably easily put on 60 miles on my feet, to a point that my left foot still has not recovered, and it feels like there's a nail driven up through the bottom of my foot still today. But it was a lot of fun. Like I said, I got to meet a very large amount of great people, some of which I have spoken to for years on social media and never gotten to meet in person. I had never gone to a National prior to this, and honestly, I hadn't really even entertained going there. And it was launching my business full time and talking to a number of people who go every year or who have gone in the past that convinced me that this was a must do, and they were right. They were absolutely right. The conversations that I had with people will be remembered for years. Getting to meet a lot of these people that I've interacted with for years, I will always remember the first time meeting them. And I didn't really go to, I mean, I went to, go to a card show, but that ended up kind of taking a back seat to getting to hang out with Dan Nothey from DMN Takeover, Old Dirty Mooch, the Channels Brothers, Andrew Jang, who's been in my break night a number of times. Got to hang out with Andrew quite a bit, meeting quite a few other guys that aren't on social media just by standing in line at the Panini booth or standing in line at PSA or whatever the case may be, and getting to interact with people from all over the country that everybody shares similar interests. Being on the floor when the Russell Westbrook to the Lakers was announced, being on the floor when the Carson Wentz injury was announced. It was pretty fun to see reactions, because when the Westbrook news broke, I was standing with a couple of local guys and local to here, and we were talking, and he pulls up his phone and he goes, "Oh my God, Russell Westbrook's going to get traded to the Lakers." And we were talking about it, and all of a sudden the news fully broke, and you could, I use this as an example, you could hear vendors opening their cases, pulling Russ Westbrook cards out of their cases to reprice them. That's the level of what that news did. It was comical. Hard to hear me, huh? Tony's saying he's having a problem hearing me. I just turned up my setting a little bit, Tony. Hopefully that helps. I don't want to blast anybody's eardrums. But between the Russell Westbrook and the Carson Wentz news breaking while walking around on the floor with other collectors, it was fun to see. And people that would literally, I was with a guy who was wearing a Lakers jersey, and the people who would instantly stop and go, "Ooh, Westbrook to the Lakers, high five." And it was fun. Now, because of the state of things around the world right now, yes, there was some concerns, and there was a lot of people who weren't taking very well precautions. I myself was guilty of it at times. I had a mask with me at all times. Usually if I was able to distance myself from people, I would take the mask down, because it was bloody damn hot in that convention center, even with the AC, but when they're packing that many people in there. But the anxiety, I've never had anxiety with stuff like this. I don't have issues being in crowds. I don't have issues speaking in front of people. I don't have issues with being the focal point of attention. I've literally given speeches. I've been in front of thousands of people in crowds talking. I've performed. I don't have a problem being in front of people. I've never really had anxiety since I was younger, being in large groups or in front of large groups or anything like that. I went to Jimmy's, the trade night that Jimmy's Kentucky Roadshow and Collector Corner, Card Collector 2 put on, Jimmy and Ryan, and the Channels Brothers were also involved in that, and I went to that, and I took some video. When I got there, they were waiting to open the doors to the conference room, and it was so packed. It was a 70-80 foot walk from the front doors to the convention, or to the conference room doors, and it was just packed. It was cattle packed in. So I walked around it all, went and stood where there was nobody really in this opening. And they opened the doors, and instantly people flooded the tables, grabbed a spot to sit, and there was automatically, within minutes, no place to sit. It was standing room only. And then the snacks and whatnot just got obliterated. There was no drinks left. There was no snacks left. No cookies, no pastries, whatever they put out. I didn't even see anything other than the cookies. But anyway, it just got obliterated. And so I walked into the conference room, and I just walked through the crowd. I was looking to see if I recognized anybody, and there was so many people, like it was almost, my anxiety was just blinding me almost. And I'm sure there was people that I recognized. And so I walked through and went and stood over on the far right side against the wall, because I could actually, distance myself from people, and I had to take my mask down and breathe because it was so dang hot in there. Which, by the way, the entire time in Chicago was freaking hot and humid and disgusting. And so I took a video, which I think I shared on social media. I honestly don't remember. But there was so many people there. And so I stood there for a few minutes just kind of taking it all in as to the how big this was. And then anxiety got worse, and all of a sudden I was like, I have to leave this room. There was more people still coming in. And I'm leaving the room, and there were still people coming in and still people leaving because of how packed it was. And I see Ryan Channels out in the hallway, and he's greeting more people as they're coming in, and he's just got this ear-to-ear grin on his face, and he sees me, and he goes, "I can't believe the turnout." And I love the Channels boys. They are amazing kids. And I go up to Ryan, and I was just like, "Buddy, this is insane." And he goes, "Right?" And he goes, "We need a bigger room. We're gonna have to need a bigger room for the next time." And because I was there to support them, and because Ryan had told me prior to the show, or to that night, that they were announcing that they were opening up their California card shop, the California Road Show. They were going to make the announcement at this trade night. And so I was like, I'm going to stick around for that. He's like, "Well, we go up on stage in a few minutes." I was like, "I'm going to stick around for that." And then after that, I have to leave. I mean, he could see on my face that I was like, I couldn't take it. And so they go up and they do the thing on stage. They announce it. I did my clapping, waved by, and I had to get out of there. I had to get out of there. It was so packed. So I leave. I walk back to the hotel, which was a little bit further than just the convention center. This was on now the opposite side of the convention center. So I'm a little over a mile walk back to my hotel. I go back to my hotel, and I'm drenched in sweat by the time I get back because it was just hot and humid. So I go upstairs, change my clothes. Except I left I had my Chase Claypool jersey on. And I go back downstairs to the restaurant in the hotel. And because I'm not a small person. Now, some of you guys know me in person, some of you guys don't. I'm 6'9", okay? I'm not a small man. I am 6'9", I'm 250 pounds. I'm a big dude. And so I walk down to the hotel, and I pull up at the bar, and people recognized me instantly. Not from this, not as being Sports Stuff Hub, not as being Ryan. They recognized me from walking the floor at the show. They recognized me from walking around trade night. They just recognized the giant ass dude walking around in a Chase Claypool jersey. That was me. So I essentially end up hosting an impromptu collector's dinner, so to speak, with, a dozen collectors as we sat there and BS'd about cards and whatnot over the next couple hours, eating and having some drinks down in the hotel bar and restaurant. And which was a lot of fun because these people had no clue who I was. They had no clue who Sports Stuff Hub was. These were people who did not, like this was not like a Sports Stuff Hub event. These people weren't there for Break Night. These people weren't there for Sports Stuff Hub Live. These people weren't there for me. They were just there, and they recognized the fact that I was a big dude that was on the show floor earlier and was at trade night. So, and I'm not afraid to talk to a large group of people. And I'm not afraid to include more people into said group to make the group bigger. So I just basically start gathering these people, and we end up, BSing for the next couple hours, talking cards, and got to meet some fantastic people who were not on social media whatsoever and had no idea that there was Twitter hobby and Instagram hobby and Facebook hobby. They're not on at all as far as cards go. Now, some of these people had, their own personal stuff, and I'm just like, you've never shared you've never gone onto Twitter or Instagram or Facebook and posted about a card that you picked up, or talked to somebody about a card you've picked up on social media on any platform. And 90% of the people that I was talking to were like, didn't know people did that. I'm like, I honestly. So a lot of us, especially like on Twitter, for example, you can look at accounts that have 20, 30, 40, 50,000 followers of collectors, whether it's sports, Pokemon, what NFTs, whatever the case may be. Okay, there are accounts that are hobby influencers that have 20, 30, 40, 50,000 followers of people like-minded. And I'm meeting people at this show who have no clue that that exists. Have zero clue that there are social media followings for sports card collectors or card collectors in general. Unbelievable. And so I'm sitting here talking to these people, and I'm like, why don't, this one, I was talking to this one kid, younger, well, actually, I can't really say kid. He's probably only a couple years younger than me, but he was, he just looked younger. But he was a Michael Jordan collector. He's from Arkansas. Very nice kid. And I keep saying that. I'm going to keep saying that, even though he wasn't a kid. He was in his probably early to mid-30s. And he was with his dad. And his dad, I believe, is from the Indianapolis area, by the sounds of it. But anyway, so this guy lives in Arkansas. And he was showing me his Michael Jordan collection of pictures on his phone. And he's casually got millions of dollars in Michael Jordan cards. He's showing me SPX autos from the 90s and SP autos from the 90s and Upper Deck autos from the 90s and all these different Michael Jordan autos that he either already had graded at BGS, were at BGS currently at the show. And I'm sitting here looking at this guy, and he, like, for example, he had one particular SPX die-cut auto Michael Jordan that was a BGS 8.5. And I'm like, now, he didn't have it in hand. But I'm like, you know what that card's worth, right? And he goes, I haven't even looked it up. I'm like, that's like a $20,000 card. It's numbered out of 23. And he's just like, oh, well, that's cool. That's cool? That's all you have to say about that? You casually show me a Michael Jordan auto out of 23 BGS 8.5 die cut from the 90s of one of the most sought after products, SPX. And that's cool? That's it? I'm like, have you ever thought about showing these cards on like Instagram or Twitter or anything like that? Not really. I'm like, dude, you should, you should show these off. And he goes, well, I don't want to sell them. And he goes, I've never sold a Michael Jordan card in my life, ever. I'm like, where in any of that I said that you had to sell them? Show them off. That collection is worthy of showing off. He had hundreds of 90s case hit style inserts, die cuts, autographs, BGS, PSA, and one at HGA. But I'm just like, or no, SGC, sorry. And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. And you don't follow anybody on social media at all. And he's just like, Didn't even know that people were on social media for sports cards. I'm like, this is insane. And we were talking about different Michael Jordans that we saw on the floor, and he literally knows the price of almost everything that was on the floor that he ran across. And he was shopping for more Michael Jordan cards. I was like, well, what's your ceiling? And he goes, whatever I feel like spending. I'm like, well, are we talking like 10K? Are we talking 20K, 30K? He goes, if I find the right card, I'd even drop 200 on it. What? You would literally come to this show. You don't sell, like, he does not sell cards. And he was casually saying that he would just drop 200K on the right Michael Jordan card. And I'm just like, oh, for real? And he goes, yeah, but I mean, he goes, a lot of the vendors here, 30, 40, 50, double what the comps are. I'm like, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you're right. And he goes, so I mean, it's hard for me to spend that kind of money on a card if it's over comps when I could literally just go on eBay and buy it for less than that. And I'm like, have you asked, like, hey, would you meet me here? And he goes, yeah, nobody's willing to budge on Michael Jordan stuff. And I was like, yikes. Okay, so we literally have a guy who is ready to drop. Now, I guarantee I know one of the reasons why some of the vendors didn't drop their price for him. Because they didn't think he was serious. Perception is kind of one of the topics I want to talk about today. Perception. This guy, mid-30s, looked like he was in his 20s, had a beard, kind of scraggly. I wouldn't say the beard looked scraggly. He didn't look like he was going to be walking around, looking to buy high end. Oh, but he was. And I guarantee that hurt his buying power because people wrote him off instantly. So perception caused a number of vendors to not get a high-end sale on a Michael Jordan card that they're going to struggle to sell because they're asking too much for it. And this guy literally was ready to pull the trigger. But nobody was willing to wheel and deal because they didn't believe that he was serious. And that's sad. That's unfortunate. And people that you don't think are coming in with that kind of buying mentality are some of the people who are dropping a lot of money. And for vendors to write somebody off the moment they walk up to a table, it's kind of BS. And I can tell you right now, I've been guilty of it myself. Not gonna lie. I do a lot of card shows. I set up as a vendor at a lot of card shows. Now, usually, the first couple of interactions with people, no, I don't write them off. But, when somebody's been to my table a dozen times, and when they look at cards that are above $50, $60, $70, $80, and they start looking at those higher end cards, but then come in with the, if I've got a card stickered at $40 and they make me a $10 offer, then obviously I get into this person's not, not going to be making me offers on anything high end. So I tend to discount them on that, and I probably shouldn't, because some of those same people have come back shows later and picked up several $100s off of me later on. So the fact that this guy was walking around the world's largest card show, casually, ready to drop $200,000 on the right Michael Jordan, which tells me that he would have gladly spent $20,000 to $30,000 on an evenly comped Michael Jordan card, and people just, no, not willing to negotiate. Now, before I move on, pure collectors who simply love the hobby without the need for the online clout. Nothing wrong with that, of course. Thank you, Tony. Exactly. There's a lot of collectors out there who are not on social media. That was kind of what I was getting at before. We think that there's a lot of collectors just because of what we see on social media. Every day. I can run down the list here of people in the chat. Miller, Tony, Don. All on social media. Taylor probably has said something as well. Taylor, we're all on social media. We all interact. But there are, for every one of us on that list, there's 30 that are not on social media. Just going to local card shows here in the Seattle area, whether it's Auburn or Everett or Portland, wherever it may be, I run into people all the time who are not on Twitter, who are not on Instagram, who are not on Facebook, or are only on one of the three. I know a lot of people who only live in the Facebook groups. That's it. That's their hobby experience, Facebook groups. Now, I've been in some Facebook groups, and some of them are toxic as hell. Some of them are full of scammers. Some of them are nothing but overcharging piles that just want to flip stuff, and they don't care what comps are. They just take whatever price they paid if they overpaid for it, and they tack another 20% on it, and then they try to fool people into believing that that's what it actually sells for. So there's a lot of Facebook groups that can be very toxic. There can be a lot of Instagram circles that can be very toxic. There can be a lot of Twitter circles that can be very toxic. I like to think that I've done a very good job at muting, not necessarily blocking, but muting a fair amount of that toxicity, keeping that out of my timeline. I know I'm missing conversations. I know I'm missing a lot of interaction because some of the people that I've muted are, they might have thousands of followers, or they might be well thought of by a few people, but because of their toxicity in conversations, I instantly muted them. And I know those same people have gotten into arguments with friends of mine that I have caught down the road because of somebody saying something to me. Hey, why didn't you, step in on blah, blah, blah's argument? Well, because I have it muted. When you get into an argument with somebody I have muted, I don't see the conversation. It's as simple as that. And so I like to think I've done a pretty good job of removing a lot of the toxicity and being able to focus my mentals on the positivity. Now, do I sometimes make comments on social media that are not beloved by all? Sure, we all do. Do I sometimes bring the room down a little bit because I point out a negative impact that something had? Sure, again, we all do. But I'm not going to jump on somebody's feed and attack them and do what I'm muting people for. That's what I'm trying to avoid doing. Now, am I very opinionated? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I am. I'll be the first to admit it. But bringing a media presence, as I've been trying to do with Sports Stuff Hub, turning into a media company, I want to be more positive reinforcement for everything. Sports content, sports card content, instead of getting into the back and forth, backhanded, this and that, he said, she said bullcrap, like what I see a lot of. So, my focus is not only being real with people, but being positive with people. Because we have too much negativity. We already have too much negativity in the world, in everything. And going to things like the National, going to the Summit, going to the Dallas Card Show, going to, San Bernardino, I think is another card show, another big card show. Going to things like that and getting to network and getting to meet more people and getting to talk and interact with more collectors face to face. That's a big goal of mine. And I don't want to get into the, pull somebody aside. Hey, did you hear what was going down over there? Did you hear what so-and-so said? Did you hear this? Did you hear this? I don't want to get into that. I want to go and The one thing that I absolutely loved about being at the National was seeing people light up. And I don't mean argument light up. Watching their faces. Seeing some of these guys who've never been to a big show before. Look in a display case and see 60 Michael Jordans. Autos and rookies and case hits and all this kind of stuff. And seeing that level, knowing that they've never been in the presence of that type of display case before, because they've only been at local card shows where maybe, you know, the big table is somebody who has a Michael Jordan rookie card. And watching these people's faces light up and change their complete perception on collecting, and not for the negative. I watched more people at the National who've never held a card worth more than $500 become determined to make Grail purchases, to hold a card that they never thought they would be able to own, never thought that they would ever be able to be in the same room as. And I watched hundreds of people come to the realization they were going to. And that was a blast. That truly was fun. It was an amazing time, and I look forward to going to Atlantic City, and I look forward to going to the summit next month, and I look forward to going to the Dallas Card Show in October, hopefully, and I look forward to Atlantic City next year for a lot of aspects. To see friends that I've known for years, that I don't get to talk to in person that often, if ever, never have, or haven't since this last National. To see young collectors absolutely shine, and to see people just re-energized. And I said this about this last card show. Now, I've been doing card shows in this area for a number of years. I started doing card shows with the Twin Oaks group, with Ron Oakton in 2016 at the Factoria Mall. Then I started doing the Portland Mall. And they were okay. That was before the big wave of cards. COVID hit, obviously, stopped doing shows. October rolls around, they start doing the shows at the Auburn Mall because Factoria wasn't going to happen. So, went to the October show. Immediately knew that November I needed to set up because that October show was fantastic. Great location. Collectors at an all-time high. Okay? November, do the show. Fantastic. December, do the show. Fantastic. January, do the show. Fantastic. February, I'm going to start doing Portland as well. Because everybody's telling me Portland is blowing up. Card show. So I do Portland for a couple months. It was okay. Come back from the National. Immediately have a card show in Portland the next weekend. Was really close to scrapping it because I was exhausted. All of last week I was an absolute pile. So I get ready for the Portland show. Kind of get a little bit of re-energized because getting some of my stuff back from Chicago, so I could take down for the show some new stuff. And I only go down for this Saturday portion of Portland. And the energy that I felt at this Portland show was unlike any Portland show I'd been at. At one point, it was kind of dead to start with. The people that were coming up to the table either didn't want to spend more than $20 or they were looking for flawless. No joke. I literally had at least a dozen people walk up to the show, or walk up to my table at the show before noon, before 11 o'clock even, and ask if I had any high-end, flawless, or national treasures RPAs. And I looked at them and I was like, no, those are, a lot of times those are going to be your $10,000+ cards. And their responses were, yeah, I know. Well, all right then. Unfortunately, I do not. I don't bring a lot of ridiculous high-end stuff to the local shows. Noon, 1 o'clock. Noon rolls around, actually, because it was about 2 hours worth, because the show shuts down at 2. And I'm sitting down in the chair, which I don't do very often at a card show. I prefer to be on my feet. I want to be talking to people. I want to be moving around. I want to be energetic. And I was sitting down because my feet were killing me still from the National. And a guy walks up to the table, and I'm talking to him, and another collector, and we're just, going through, just blowing through, talking cards, talking this. And all of a sudden, 2, 3, 4 other people start walking up to the table, and they start digging through my dollar bins and whatnot, looking at the display case. And then all of a sudden, I see people standing behind them. And I stand up, and it was a sea of people in the middle of the hall of the mall. There was easily 200 people packed in the hallway right there. And I was like, oh my God. It was like floodgates opened. And I was like, this is the most people I've seen at this show ever. And I was afraid this show was going to be dead. Now, as quick as they came, it dissipated. I don't know if it was just a mad rush of people getting out of something, or people walking in, seeing that it was jam-packed and walked away. I don't know what the deal was, but anyway, all of a sudden, some sales start coming through. People coming in for trades. People coming in, hey, would you buy? Work some deals with a partial trade, partial cash. And all of a sudden, in an hour, I've done 10 times what I did in the first 3. Wow, okay. All right. Talking to more collectors. People asking me, you were at the National? Yeah, tell them some stories about being at the National. Talking to some other guys. Talked to a guy that breaks with me. His name's James, who came up to the table and was asking me a little bit about the National. And overhearing other people talk about being at the National. I see people that I recognize from being at the National. Some of which I talked to at the National. Some people I didn't, because I knew I recognized them from somewhere, but I couldn't pinpoint where it was from. And I'm looking around, and people are energized, and people are active, and people are buying, and people are cutting deals, and people are making deals, and people are closing deals, and people are handing cash around, and I'm just like, dear Lord, I've never seen Portland like this. And what I thought was going to be the hangover from the National turned into the National rejuvenating people. And I put a tweet out about this, that it rejuvenated even the collectors that weren't there, because they were feeding off the energy of the people who were talking about it, because it was so much fun, and they did so much, and there's so many ideas being tossed around now. We're talking about people wanting to set up local trade nights even more, and people wanting to cut more deals, and people wanting to pick up even higher end cards, and make even bigger deals. And I literally looked at my wife and I was like, I've again never seen the Portland show like this. And I actually had my best sales day at the Portland show that I've ever had. And most of it was within a 2-hour window. Yeah, Josh was there. It was a great day. And to have a day that I was expecting to almost be a throwaway day turn out to be one of my bigger sales days. And that was even after I'd spent, I won't say the exact number, but north of $500 to open the day. Spent north of $500 to pick up some cards from another guy. And I still eclipsed what I believe to be my highest sales day in my history of doing that show. boom. We'll take it. So in summary, not only was the National just a badass event to go to and a lot of fun, and I recommend it to everybody, not only was it fun, but in my opinion, it rejuvenated collectors around the country that weren't even there. I would agree with that, Tony. If we set up a trade night for Saturday night sometime after the Auburn show at a centralized location somewhat close to the show, I do believe it would be a big hit, especially if we advertise it at the card show. Now, the question would be, where would that take place? Where would be a safe place to have that? And where would be a space that we could do that? I 100% believe on the weekend of the Twin Oaks Auburn show, I believe that would be the best time to do it. The problem is that I don't believe, for the amount of people that would probably show up, I don't believe we would have the space for it. You'd literally have to get like a hotel conference room type of setup, and maybe even talk to Ron about getting in touch with the mall. Maybe even, I don't know if there's any empty units there or what, but I don't know. We could figure something out. But right now, it's another wave. It's not a bubble. Too many people keep using that term. We're in a bubble. We're not in a bubble. There's no bubble that's going to burst. The only bubble that could burst is the economy. The economy drives what people are spending. Now, if the economy crashes and millions of people across the country lose their jobs and get no unemployment benefits or minimal unemployment benefits, yeah, that changes a lot. Shades of 2007. A lot of people got out of collecting in 2007, 2008. I stopped for a little while because of the way the economy was. I wasn't out of a job, but I was nervous, and so my money wasn't going to go to sports cards at the time. So that kind of thing can happen, yeah, but it's not a bubble. It is not a bubble. If you saw what I saw over the last 3 weeks, it is not a bubble. Well, now the Halloween store is going to be taken over because they're starting to put the Halloween stores back in, though, right? Because I know they're doing that down in Portland. They're putting in at the Bed Bath & Beyond, the old Bed Bath & Beyond, they're turning into the Halloween store now. So we may have to wait until after Halloween to do that in that location, but I like where your head's at. I would love to do a trade night sometime. I had a lot of fun. I went to try to do the trade show or the trade night with Jimmy's. That didn't go so well. The next night I went to the Lowe's Hotel, and they had a last minute trade night there, which a lot of people showed up to that. I was with a group of people that were there to drink, not trade night. I didn't bring any cards. So after I got done with hanging out with the group I was with, went and just BS with a few people. Got to meet those back pages. I don't remember what his name is, but fantastic guy to talk to. Hilarious. Then I bolted. The next night back at the Lowe's Hotel, I actually did bring stuff too, and that's where I ended up making the deal where I moved my Jason Tatum NT auto black box that I got, and also sold my Satu auto to Mooch, and sold my Patrick Mahomes Radiance to Miles. And then I also got a couple of cards. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I had a very good time. That trade night, the second night at the Lowe's, was a little smaller, which was tolerable. It wasn't making my anxiety just spike. But I do think that having a large-scale trade night somewhere would be great. Johnny has tried to do it at Collector's Corner recently before the National, and he had a good turnout. And I would love to do that, but Johnny's is A, hour from me, B, smaller, and I think if we did it where it was sponsored by Collector's Corner, sponsored by. We could do something like that. But we'll see. There's a lot of time to figure that out. I will be going to the Collectors Summit. That's my plan anyways. I still have to book flight, hotel, and buy my tickets to it. Because I just found out about it a couple weeks ago. Actually, I found out about it at the National and found out that they've been on sale for a long time. So I kind of missed the boat on getting in early, but we'll see. I do want to go, though. Okay, so card talk has been heavy. Let's move on just a little bit for a little bit. We are going to get to our main topic tonight. I wouldn't even say it's a main topic. This is just a topic tonight. But something everybody has been waiting for. If I can get it to pull up. Please pull up. Please pull up. There we go. You guys ready for this? The 2021 Sports Stuff Hub Fantasy Football League. Here we go. How it goes down, and I may have to adjust my screen a little bit because I think the writing's gonna go under it. How it goes down. The entry cost is $20. Okay? I prefer people to not have multiple spots in this, so I'm going to try to limit everybody to one, but if we do need a filler for somebody to fill out a league, then so be it. Entry cost $20 this year. Multiple divisions. All divisions run as their own league, which means every division is set up with full access to the NFL rosters. So each division that is in here will be its own small league. 12 teams per division. So for every group of 12, you will have 100% access to the entire NFL roster. So you don't have to worry that if Jim Bob over here in Division B has Julio Jones, guess what? Jim Bo over in Division A can also have Julio Jones. So every 12-team division will be its own separate league. Roster sizes: quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 1 kicker, and 1 defense, along with 1 injured reserve spot and 5 bench. Everybody with me so far? We're changing it up this year. Full point per reception. True PPR league. Full point per reception. This can definitely change up your draft strategies with receiving backs. Bonus points for distance touchdowns. What that means is a normal touchdown for a wide receiver is 6 points, plus whatever yardage. So let's say it's a 20-yard touchdown. That's 2 points for the yardage, 6 points for the touchdown. But let's say it's a 40-yard touchdown. You get an extra bonus point. So you'll get 4 for the 40 yards, you'll get 6 for the touchdown, plus you'll get a bonus point for it being 40 yards. Oh, what if it's a 50-yarder? Extra bonus point. Boom. So you get 1 for 40, 1 for 50. So that's 2 bonus points on top of the 10, 11 for the yardage and touchdown. Big time in it. There is going to be some massive points scored in this league. Unlimited participation. Meaning we could have 60 or we could have 600. Doesn't matter. The more people, the better the prizes. Okay? The more people, the better the prizes. I can't say it any clearer than that. The bonus stuff. Number one, this is what I was afraid of. Sponsored by Ultra Pro. And we also have negotiations currently in place on more sponsors. Come on. Weekly top scorer prize packs. Weekly. Brought to you by Ultra Pro. Year-end prizes for the top of each division and the overall. Now, the top of each division, those prizes are currently in negotiation, but the overall is your entry fee. The entry fee money is going towards hobby boxes of football cards. We could be talking Prism. We could be talking Gold Standard. We could be talking Elements. We could be talking Phoenix. Entry fees are going towards the top 3 hobby boxes. So how we are going to do this? Let's say we have 10 divisions. The top 10 winners. Okay, the winners of each division, so 10 winners. We will then take their total score from the season, and the top 3 are the first, second, and third that win the hobby prizes, the hobby box prizes. Okay, so each division winner will still win something, but the overall top 3 will win the hobby boxes paid for by everybody's entry fees. That's it. Go back. So it's as simple as that. I will be starting to take entries this week. And I will be starting to load divisions up this week. I've already had, every time I've mentioned the league coming up on social media, I get blown up in my DMs. And right now, my rough count is probably 60 people so far. And that's not counting the majority of people that I know that are going to play in this, that either did before or that I know are big-time fantasy football nuts. But we're going to start setting it up. Live drafts will be broadcast on this YouTube channel. The drafts will all take place in the week leading up to the NFL season. I will try to accommodate for everybody's schedules, but I'm also going to be asking for people to be accommodating of everybody else's schedules as well. So, we are going to be doing live drafts. So basically the week before the NFL season starts, I'm probably going to be doing at least two fantasy football drafts a night. So, that is your Sports Stuff Hub Fantasy Football League announcement, officially and sponsored by Ultra Pro. I'm excited. I am. I love fantasy football. I love playing fantasy football. I love trash talk in fantasy football. Everything fantasy football wise with this league will be aired on my website. I'm going to have a special page. I'm going to be taking screenshots. I'm going to be putting links up. If somebody gets dunked on, it's going in the highlights. If somebody gets absolutely throttled, it's going in the highlights. This is going to be fun. I want there to be trash talk in this. So, $20 entry, potential big hobby box winnings. So, Sports Stuff Hub Fantasy Football League. I know you want in, Taylor. And you're going to be in. David Miller is going to try to retake his crown from the last time we did this large league like this. This is not the first time I've done this league, by the way. We did this back in 2017, and it was a lot of fun. Now, I will say, if I contact you or send out a blanket email to people, I need responses. Last time, I had several of the prizes go unclaimed that I ended up just giving away to other collectors because I got no response from some of the weekly high score winners. I don't know if they stopped playing and they just lucked into it or what the deal was, but I emailed several of the winners. No response. So, if I email you or email a group of people and I am asking for a response, please respond to me. That would be helpful. That way I can get prizes out. Because Ultra Pro and also our potential other sponsors that hopefully we have the deals worked out within the next 48 hours want to know who the winners are. And then I also want to make sure that the winners post if they're on social media. So anyway, fantasy football, going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to it. Speaking of football, training camps have started. Since we have not talked sports at all tonight, and that's what Sports Stuff Hub Live is supposed to be for. Talking about sports. I don't want to say I told you so to anybody, but have you guys seen Trey Lance's video footage from training camp? Now I know it's training camp and I know it's practice, but god damn. The dimes he is dropping. I think we can go back and check the tape, and we can watch some old episodes of Sports Stuff Hub, where I believe I said he moves Lamar Jackson-esque and has an Aaron Rodgers-like arm. So, I don't want to say I told you so. But I told you so. He's the real deal. Now, on the flip side, Jimmy Garoppolo looked absolutely fantastic. And again, I'm going to say just as I said with Trey Lance, this is practice. But Jimmy Garoppolo looked strong. And he looked way better, I believe it was today's video or yesterday's video. Either way, this week. So, maybe there's a quarterback competition. Maybe they just roll with Jimmy G and let Trey Lance learn, which I'm not opposed to. I honestly don't give two craps if Trey Lance plays this year or not. I don't give a crap about a Rookie of the Year trophy. I know he doesn't. He's not an accolades guy. He's a worker. And I know he's willing to put that work in. And he's going to be a monster. And if he gets to sit and learn for a year and come in next year and absolutely tear the league to shreds, I'm okay with that. If he plays this year, wins Rookie of the Year, and has a short career, I would take him sitting this year and having a long, successful 15 to 18 year career. I would take that over him starting day one, winning Rookie of the Year, and flaming out in 5 years. I will take scenario A all day, every day, twice on Sunday, 365 days a year. Hands down. Taylor, I did not see any Trey Lances you pulled today. I've been kind of off and on with social media today. Had a lot of stuff going on, so I was running around quite a bit. I have not watched Hard Knocks. I have not even... Is it Cowboys are on it this year? Is that what it was? I honestly have not paid attention to that at all. And shame on me. I mean, I really should. Because it's some good content. I know that. But I tend to not get into the dramatics, the theatrics, that kind of stuff. And I need to with some of it. Oh, I got my cameras backwards. Huh. This could be a problem. That's first episode. That's probably why I haven't watched it yet. So, as we all know, I mentioned it a little bit ago at the National, the Wentz news came out. Carson Wentz injured. Now, not exactly, I wouldn't say he's injured. He didn't sustain an injury. It's something that happened to him potentially back in high school, the doctors said, where he had a bone chip in his foot that was floating around that probably got lodged somewhere. And then got his foot stepped on in practice, which then dislodged the bone chip. And now it's floating around in his foot and causing pain, and he needed to have surgery. So when that news came out, much like the Russell Westbrook news, Jacob Eason's probably going to be the starter, and now all of a sudden you could hear, literally again, vendors opening their display cases, pulling their Jacob Eason's out so they could reprice them. So, originally it was anticipated that he could potentially be missing the entire season. I, for one, even tweeted that he was probably going to miss the entire season. Suspected. And I know a couple people jumped on my shit about it. And I don't care. Because, in my opinion, as a former athlete, and as somebody who has a lot of friends who are athletes and former athletes, when there's a foot injury or ankle injury, it lingers unless you have it fully taken care of. And that's the aspect that I looked at this from. A foot injury without any details to me is scary. A foot injury without any details to me tells me they're probably going to miss significant time. So therefore, I said he was probably going to miss the entire season, or at least a good chunk of it. And I will stand by that today. Now, they're saying he could potentially only be out for 5 weeks. Now, does that mean 5 weeks from the date of surgery, or does that mean 5 weeks from the start of the season? They're saying that he could potentially be back week 1. I don't see that happening. I don't, with that kind of surgery, I don't see that happening. An ankle injury on a mobile quarterback, a foot injury in general on a mobile quarterback, does not heal well. And if they push him back, he will not do well. Will not respond. Correct. Ehlinger took some first team snaps today. That is correct. It was actually a split time between him and Eason today. I was reading the article about it, which I found very interesting because I did not expect Ehlinger to get first team reps, and it was because Frank Reich wanted to see how he would handle things with the first team, and so he divided it up 50-50 between Eason and Ehlinger today, which was fun to see. 6th round quarterback, Sam Ehlinger, who could potentially beat out Jacob Eason with Carson Wentz being out. That could happen. I mean, realistically, it could, because they weren't locked in on Eason. The only thing Frank Reich said prior to the last week was that he was happy with the quarterback room. I know there was a lot of talk going on. Maybe they should bring in Foles. Maybe they should bring back Rivers. Maybe they... They're not going to bring back a big name or pay somebody or trade and give up somebody for a quarterback that they only need for 3 to 5 weeks, or even as much as 10 weeks. They're not going to do it. They just invested in Carson Wentz. They're not going to pay for another name to come on. Because number one, in order to get a Nick Foles, remember, Nick Foles' contract with Chicago is not that small. Okay? It's not big. It's not massive, but but it's not that small. And so in order for them to get that, they would have to pay him. Now, Nick Foles also threw out, hey, I would love to play for Frank Reich again. We have not had any conversations, but I would love to play for a tremendous amount of respect for Frank. Yeah, well, too bad. Nick Foles not going to Indy. It's not going to happen. The last thing Frank Reich wants to do is create a quarterback controversy with Carson Wentz still in the building. Because that's exactly what happened in Philadelphia that Frank Reich was not a fan of. So, happy with the quarterback room. Jacob Eason and Sam Ehlinger. With Carson Wentz waiting to come back. And Carson Wentz is not afraid to help young quarterbacks. He's not afraid to teach. He's not afraid to be in their ear. He's not afraid to point them in the right directions. He's proven that. He did it in Philadelphia many times. He's not a guy that's just going to take off the headset and pout. It's not how he operates. He wants what's best for the team. I've seen it time and time again. So, whether it's Ehlinger or Eason, 1 game, 6 games, 10 games, I highly doubt it'll be 10. Even if it's the whole season, Wentz is there. Now, the one thing it does do is it just got the Colts their quarterback for cheaper. Because the stipulations of the conditional first-round pick that they gave up, the Colts will give up a first-round pick if the Colts make the playoffs. If the Colts have Carson Wentz as their starting quarterback for 75% of the snaps this season. If Carson Wentz misses 6 games, that's less than 75%. And now all of a sudden, Indy's only given up a second-round draft pick for Carson Wentz. And then Carson Wentz can come back in 2022 fully healthy and get back to his MVP type of play. You know, that would be a lot of fun, Dave. I wish I could get more interactive. At some point, as things get bigger with this, and as I get upgraded software, I am going to be introducing call-ins to the show. At some point here soon, I'm actually going to be shifting this to a daily thing during. I was aiming to potentially do it during the football season, so we'll see. It might end up being a daily thing, but I do at some point want to introduce being able to do call-ins and take questions, take comments, and stuff like that. That is a goal of mine soon. I have a lot of goals. This is going to get a lot bigger over the next couple of years. So you guys just stay tuned. There's a lot in the works. There is a lot in the works that I can't clarify at the moment. I can't expound on right now. But there's a lot in the works, not just for breaking or anything like that. The shed is coming along quite well. It's about 3/4 done being sheetrocked. Obviously, I had to take a break while I was gone. And then last week I was just exhausted. And now this week is going to be hot as hell. But the next couple of days I'm going to try to get a little bit more done early in the morning. And then I can't run power out to it yet. And I got to figure out how I'm going to do it, because we are going to do the remodel, which means we're going to be demoing some in the backyard, and I have to be able to bury the power line running out there in a manner that I'm not going to have to dig it up and move it when we do the remodel. So that is a touchy subject at the moment, but sheetrocking is almost done. Just been doing a little bit at a time so we don't get too dang hot out there, because that shed gets hot. So, and then hopefully we can get the mini splits out there. All right, so it is 7:11. We aren't going to go too late tonight, because I've got a lot of stuff on my plate yet tonight that I just got an order in of about 150 pops right before the show started, so I'm going to try to get into that here shortly. But we are going to break our box, and I see my brake cam is backwards. I'm going to flip this real quick, so just hang tight. I did find, well, I picked up a lot that had some Jordan Pops in it. They're listed on the website. Hang on. I'm trying to get this. There we go. There we go. That'll work. Okay, so I did manage to get my hands on some older Absolute Football 2014 Absolute Football Blaster. Figured this would be a fun one to rip for the show tonight. So, without further ado, let's hit it. This is 2014 Panini Absolute Football. This is a blaster box. There's potential. Johnny. There's Odell Beckham Jr., Khalil Mack, Derek Carr, Jarvis Landry, Duke Johnson, Carlos Hyde, Johnny Manziel, Teddy Bridgewater. There's a large checklist of rookies from the 2014 class. So if you're unfamiliar with 2014 Absolute, so this is a start. These were die cuts. So we get AJ Green starting it off. Reggie Bush, Julio, Big Ben, Calvin Johnson, Andre Johnson, Rivers, Luck, rookie of Marcus Smith, and a red of Deshaun Jackson. Yep, retail was die cuts. Jimmy Graham, Austin Davis, Ben Tate, Kuechly, Noshawn Moreno, EJ Manuel, Andrew Hawkins, Matt Ryan, and we get a Hog Heaven Demaryius Thomas insert with like a leather feel to it. Trey Mason rookie, and a Stephen Tuitt red parallel rookie, which that Tuitt is going to go in my PC. Keep your hands off my Tuitt, Dave. Marshawn, Colin, Monty Ball, CJ Spiller, Sam Bradford, Kendall Wright, Darrelle Revis. We get a duel of Eddie Lacy, Julio Jones. Kind of an odd combo with Mark Ingram and Trent Richardson on the back. That is definitely an odd. It's a thick card too. I don't see it numbered. Zach Mettenberger and Keenan Allen. Cordero Patterson, Nick Foles, Doug Martin, Tony Romo, Alex Smith, Andy Dalton, Steve Johnson. Packers, Devontae Adams, rookie jersey collection. That's cool. Devontae Adams was another one in 2014 that we forgot to mention. David Yankee and Eric Decker red. It's funny when we talk about the 2014 class, for as good as Devontae Adams has been, he tends to get left out of that class. Joe Flacco, Reggie Wayne, LaShawn McCoy, Arian Foster, Michael Floyd, Rashad Jennings, DeMarcus Ware, Keenan Allen Blue, not numbered. Another Stephen Tuitt, so the base, and then Antonio Brown, red. Are you talking Sammy Watkins? He was also in this class. Charles Woodson, Richard Sherman, Antonio Brown, Deshaun Jackson, D. Williams, Ryan Tannehill, Victor Cruz, Alfred Morris, Kyle Van Noy rookie, and a red Marcus Smith rookie. Oh, nice. Oh, you went to that celebrity softball game? Oh, sweet. One of the guys from the Pat McAfee show was there too. Now I can't think of his name, but yeah, he was one of the guys. He was on one of the teams. Mercedes Lewis, Mike Wallace, Gio Bernard, Patrick Peterson, Drew Brees, Robert Griffin, Toby Gerhart. Another one of these quads, but this is Browns. Manziel, Justin Gilbert, Christian Kirksey, and Terrence West. E.J. Gaines rookie, and Richard Sherman red. Why am I drawing a blank on his name now all of a sudden? They call him the COVID Cowboy. He always wears the cowboy hat. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Le'Veon Bell, Geno Smith, Cam Newton, Dwayne Bowe, Russell Wilson, Hakeem Nicks, Justin Forsett. Rookie jersey collection, Allen Robinson. So we got 2 jersey cards in this box. Corey Washington rookie and Charles Woodson red. So that was one blaster of 2014 Absolute Football. Yeah, Zach Banner from out here in Lakewood. Alright, so we're going to give away the Allen Robinson and the Devontae Adams jersey rookies. Alright, get these out of the way. Alright, so we're going to give away these two. So spot number 1 is going to go to Devontae Adams, and spot number 2 to Allen Robinson. So, like I said, we're going to get right to this because as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go break down that big-ass shipment from Funko. Dang it, I got to move this because it's in my way. I literally have too much stuff on my desk. Uh-oh. We didn't freeze, did we? There we go. Okay, so we're going to start with our dice roller because I'm not going to try to pull up 2 things. Tone, yeah, Diggs. That's who it was. Alright, we're going to randomize the list 8 times when we get that far, okay? Keep that in mind, 8 times. Alright, so if you want to win one of the 2 cards on the table, just type me in the chat. M-E, me. As in, you want to win. Alright, Taylor, Shane. Pitch. David Miller. Dawn. And don't forget, guys, tomorrow night is break night, and it is a monster lineup. We've got 2 big baseball breaks. We've got a gold standard PYT that's going to be massive. And then we have an absolute monster National Treasures basketball serial number 99 spotter. $39 to get into a break for National Treasures basketball. 10 winners. There's 10 cards in a box. 10 winners. Serial number, you get 1 number per spot. 1 through 99. It's going to be big. Alright, if anybody else wants in, now's the time to get in. Type M-E, me. Type me in the chat, and you can be entered to win one of the 2 cards below the chat bar there on the screen, or below the thing on the screen right there. The Davante Adams jersey rookie, Allen Robinson jersey rookie. Type M-E in chat, me. But tomorrow night's break night is going to be huge. And if we can fill this 99 spotter, okay, if we can fill the 99 spotter, that tells me we're ready, and I'll do 99 spotter, and I'll do some serial number breaks like this with Flawless, with more NT products moving forward. Maybe I'll try it with a case of Immaculate at some point. This is my trial run. I haven't done a serial number break in 3+ years. I want to see if we can pull this off. So get people in, share it, spread the news, get anybody in that you think would be interested in. Get them in here. We need to pull this off. Alright, so it looks like that's all we're going to have that want in. So we rolled the dice already, and it's going to be 8. So we are going to randomize this list 8 times. Good luck, everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lucky number 8. Good luck. Taylor taking home the Davante Adams. Shane winning the Allen Robinson. Congratulations, guys. You are very welcome. Okay, so like I said, tomorrow night is going to be huge for break night, so make sure you get people in. We need this to go off. We need massive participation. 99 spots on that big National Treasures break. That's huge. $39 a spot gets you a spot into a National Treasures break. I don't believe I've seen it break that cheap on any National Treasures. This is a 1 spot. There's 10 cards. There's going to be 10 winners. Just keep in mind, the RPAs are huge in this. The true RPAs. A Justin Herbert last year, in a 90, numbered at a 99, was going for $50K to start with. Now they're around 25 to 30, but still. Last year's Zion, numbered at a 99, was up to $90,000. Okay? Keep that in mind. If we hit a LaMelo true RPA out of this, that is insane. I will fly that sumbitch to whoever wins it and personally hand it to him. Because we're talking $30, $40, $50, $60, $70,000 card. I will fly that sumbitch and hand it to the winner personally. Hell yeah, Taylor. I will drive my ass down the hill and I will hand it to you personally. But we need to get those filled. So the most important, though, is fill that NT break. Because that is a massive break, and that can prove to me that we're ready to start taking on some of the Flawless breaks and the other NT products and that kind of stuff. If we can do something like that, if we can fill a 99 spotter, then I'm confident that we can run flawless breaks and more NT breaks and stuff like that. We could run full case breaks of immaculate, stuff like that. So let's get that focused on for tomorrow night. Let's crush that tomorrow night. Let's pull some monsters tomorrow night. And let's have a blast. We're going to add to the Break Hall of Fame tomorrow night. Mark my words. We will. We will. So, all right. I'm going to get out of here a little bit early tonight. Like I said, I got some stuff I want to get done yet tonight so that I can be freed up for more tomorrow. Make sure you get on, get your spots, sportstuffhub.com/breaks. Get your spots for tomorrow night. Let's crush that tomorrow night. For those of you that aren't going to be in the breaks tomorrow night, I will see you back here next week on Tuesday. We've got fantasy football. We've got more breaks. But make sure you get entered in that stuff. I'm going to be posting more of that online over the next, tonight and tomorrow. And I'm going to start taking entries and filling the divisions for fantasy football starting tomorrow. So let's get this going. And let's have this football season be a monster for us. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. And I will see you guys tomorrow night or next week right here on Sports Stuff Hub Live. I hope you all have a fantastic week and stay safe out there. Have a good night, everybody.